Um, like I missed the Chumash, today's Chumash for some reason. I forgot to record. I don't know, for whatever reason, I'm missing today's Chumash. So we'll record it this year. So we'll have, God willing, with Hashem's help, a complete topic by time we are done. Okay, let me pull up here the text today, right? We're doing Yeshua. We're going to start with the book of Joshua and then move on from there. We'll start with the book of Joshua, and then we'll move on to the daily part of the class. 1 second, I'm just getting it. Okay. So we're holding a very interesting story. Let's get to it. In the book of Yeshua, we're holding, I believe it's the middle of maybe chapter 7 or 8. Where are we holding? We look here, we're holding in middle of chapter 7. And what happened was, the story takes us to when, I gotta make it a little bit smaller here so people can read the text. The story takes us to what happened is that the Jewish people, after winning a miraculous war against Jericho, they go and they send 3,000 soldiers to conquer the small city of Ai. And when they go to conquer it, they end up losing the war. And they're shocked. And Yeshua's like, all upset. What happened? Why did we lose the war, Hashem? Now the countries are going to not be afraid of you. They're not going to respect your name because of this. And they're going to attack us. And he's very, seems very concerned. And our story takes us place there that Hashem tells him that basically somebody stole money from what was donated to Hashem. Somebody stole it, and therefore Hashem's not amongst them. And that's the reason why they ended up losing that second war. So we're holding in our class at the middle of chapter Zayin. I think we're holding verse 10. So let's take it from there. Actually, I got to open up the Rashi commentary. Sorry, let me just open up the Rashi commentary here. Verse number 10. Hashem tells Joshua, stand up. Why are you falling on your face? Chata Yisrael, verse 11, the Jewish people sinned. They went against my covenant, that I commanded them. And they took from the consecrated items that they consecrated. And they lied and they stole them. We explained verse 11 in yesterday's class that you're a Jew, even if you did all these bad things, they're still considered a Jew. And therefore the Jewish people couldn't stand up for their enemies, and they turned their backs. They had to run away and put their backs to them. Actually, we went till verse 14. I'm going to start from verse 14. In the morning, the next morning, you should bring them close, bring everybody close. And we're going to catch, basically, he's going to tell you how we're going to catch the culprit. And it explains a little bit of what the politics of the time that Joshua, very interestingly, had to deal with during this time. Have all the tribes come close, and it'll be the tribe that will be chosen, Hashem yikrav yilkadenu, Hashem yilkadenu Hashem, the yikrav l'mishpachos. So basically, God will point out which tribe was it. In other words, who's the guilty tribe? Who has the thief in that tribe? And then yikrav l'mishpachos. Then you bring all the families, the main families in the tribe. One guy from each family. And you figure out the Mishpacha Shel Kadenu and the tribe that Yilkadena Hashem, that Hashem will show who's that family, who has the guilty one from the family. Then Tikrav Lebatim, then you'll take up the households. There's a number of households within each family. You'll figure out which household it is. Va'abayis Shel Kadenu Hashem Vikrav Legvarim, in the house that you'll find out who is the culprit. You'll search man by man until you figure out who was it that ended up being the culprit. Now, the commentaries discuss here how exactly they ended up figuring out who it was. Okay, how did they know? How do they know? How was it chosen? And we'll see. I think Rashi will tell soon. If not, I'll tell you outside. We're going to see how they were able to figure out who's the guy. What was the method of figuring that out? Who was the person that stole? But anyway, let's continue. So Hashem is telling him, get all the families together, do this system, find out first which tribe it is from, and find that out. Once you know which tribe it is, find out which family it is. Once you know which family it is, find out which house within that family. And then once you know which house it is, find out which person within that house, who it is, until we catch the guilty person. Verse 15, and the one who is chosen that they figure out to have stolen the spoils, the donated items, all his possessions shall be burnt in fire, as Rashi says, and they will stone him. They will stone the person who stole it, because he violated the covenant of Hashem. And he caused a terrible thing, an infamous deed, a terrible act to happen among the Jewish people. Now, I just want to say one short message here, that if you think does the punishment fit the crime? Of course, because of this guy, whoever's caught to do this is responsible for tremendous calamity that happened. You understand? No tribe wants to be the one that it was because of someone in their tribe that they caused 36 people to die. Nobody wants to be responsible for that. So first of all, we have to catch the perpetrator. How are we going to catch him? We don't have video cameras back in the day. How are you going to figure out and catch who the guy is? But anyway, Hashem says there'll be a method, the way that we can catch and we can see who it is. And what's going to be the punishment? Anything the guy owns is going to be burnt, and the guy himself is going to get the punishment of stoning. And we'll see more reasons why that specific punishment is what this guy will get. But of course, he caused the whole war to be lost, the whole world not to be afraid of the Jewish people anymore. So obviously he did a very serious crime. Okay. Vayash came Yeshua Baker. So Joshua gets the message from God, and Yeshua gets up in the morning. Vayakriv es Yisrael l'shvatov, and he brings everybody near according to the tribes. Now, you'll see in Rashi will tell us how he did it. Vayilakched Shevet Yehuda, and whose tribe was it? Who was the culprit from? It was from the tribe of Yehuda. Rashi tells us, what does it mean that they brought the tribes close? And he says that on the Kohen's breastplate, for those of us that were in the Chumash class when we described the different items that the Kohen Gadol wore, the high priest wore a very fancy breastplate that had gems inside of it. And each gem had the name of another shevet, of another tribe, of each of the tribes on each of the 12 stones. And on the breastplate, it'll indicate who is the guilty party by the name of that tribe fading. So all the other names would shine and they were engraved. And miraculously, the name, when they asked, they went to the Kohen Gadol and they asked, as they would often communicate with Hashem through the Kohen Gadol's breastplate, they would ask a question and Hashem would make certain letters light up and so on, they would know the answer. In this case, they wanted to know which of the 12 stones on the Kohen Gadol's breastplate is the one that's the tribe that stole, and the tribe of Yehuda's name on the breastplate all of a sudden got diminished, and they were not able to see that, or it got diminished, they weren't really able to see that name, and they found out who is the guilty tribe, who's the guilty one. He's from the tribe of Yehuda. So what do they do now? Verse 17, V'yikrav es mishpachas Yehuda. So they brought near the family of Yehuda. Okay, we know it's from there. V'yilkoi des mishpachas Zarchi. And he took and he chose the Zarchi family. Yaakov as mishpachas Zarchi. So they caught who among is it. Now Rashi says, how did they find out who this is? You're not going by the breastplate anymore. It doesn't have the names of all the people in Yehuda's thing. And over here, they made a lottery. So they know it's from the tribe of Yehuda. They take out all the families, the father families from the whole tribe of Yehuda, and they put all the names in the lottery, and they pick out a name, and the name is the family of Zarchi. So what do they do once they got the lottery? Now they know who among the tribe of Yehuda is the family of Zarchi. as Mishpachas Mizrahi, they brought close to the Mizrahi family, the Gvarim, to all the men. They want to know which house it is. Vayilached Zavdi, and the lottery fell on a person who is called Zavdi. Okay, so now they know which. It's in the family mishpacha of Zarchi, and Zavdi, the house of Zavdi came out within that big family. The household of Zavdi is the one who came out. Verse 18. Vayakrev is basically Gvarim, and then they took the house of Zavdi to the different men within the family, within that house. Vayilached Achon ben Carmi, and the lottery came out that it was Achon, the son of Carmi. So it's Achon, the son of Carmi, who's the son of Zavdi, ben Zerach Lamata Yehuda, son of Zerach to the tribe of Yehuda. And here we have the culprit and the one who it was. So there was also, I believe, another commentary, by the way, said, we're mainly learning Rashi in our class, but another commentary said that they had people walk by the Kohen Gadol's breastplate and they froze whoever it was, that it was from them. They knew who it was by the person free not being able to move when they passed the Kohen Gadol's breastplate. But according to the way Rashi is learning here is the Kohen Gadol's breastplate dim telling us which tribe it was from. Then we took all the names from the family of that tribe and we selected it. We knew it was that, and we took the names of the households and we selected it and knew it was from that household. And then we narrowed it down, took the lottery of all the men in that household, and we figured out who it was, and we figured out the code. So Vayomer Yeshua Alachan. So Yeshua turns to Achan. He says to him, "B'ni, my son, Hashem, do honor to Hashem, Elokei Yisrael, the God of the Jewish people. B'sen le'soida, and give him glory and make a confession. Tein le'toida, give a confession. B'haganon, and say, please say ma'asisa, what you did. Al techachid mimeni, don't hide anything from me. Don't hide it. Let us know what you did." There's a very interesting Rashi explaining some of the politics that you could imagine that Joshua had to deal with. What happened was the tribe of Yehuda was assembling for a war. They were going to protect their own person, and there was going to be a civil war. And by the way, this is going to happen. Such things will happen in the future in history. Yehuda doesn't want to be responsible for the death of 36 people, of all the Jewish people losing the war, and they're going to protect their own. It's crazy if you think about it. It's scary, but this is true. And there's about Yeshua's watching how the tribe of Yehuda is gearing up for war to fight the rest of the Jewish people to protect Achan, who's from their tribe. So Yeshua turns to this guy Achan. He says, "I'm begging you." He says, "Please, tell your tribe that it's the truth, that you really stole it." And there's another reason that we're going to see that Yeshua is also concerned, because Achan was saying that this lottery is a farce. It's not true. The lottery is a make believe. It's not really me who. It's not really true. And he even went further. You know what he said? He said, the fact is, when you pick a lottery, one of the names are going to come up. So you made a lottery, you put in 20 names, you put in 50 names, you put in 5 names, you picked a name, someone's name is going to come up. And he says, imagine if I would put Moshe and Yoshua in a lottery, one of you did something guilty, one of your names would come up. And therefore, I don't want to believe it. He was arguing that there was a farce. And Yehuda's tribe is meanwhile arming up, getting their war ready to fight off, to protect their own. There's going to be a major civil war break out. And there's a bigger problem. What's the problem? Is that they've just entered Israel. In a few years from now, they're going to have to divide the property, who gets which portion in Israel. You know how they're going to divide it? With the lottery, the same way. So if this guy's claiming, Achan, I never did anything that's not true, this lottery is a fake, if he stays with his with his hard line approach, saying that it's not true, the whole story is fake and it's not true, and he gets people to believe him, then where they're going to make a lottery in a few years from now to divide up Israel, the Jewish people are not going to believe it either. So Yeshua's got a problem on his hands. So Joshua turns to him, he says, please, I'm begging you, I'm asking you a favor, please stand up, give honor to Hashem and let everybody know that you really did it. And Achan admits he's going to admit his guilt because you know why? Achan says, if there breaks out a war, do you know how many people from my tribe are going to get killed? Because thousands of Jews are going to get killed. Remember, we learned the story in the Chumash when the tribe started running back, when the clouds of glory went away and the Jewish people started running back, there was a civil war. According to Rashi, then we learned that half the tribes of Levi were wiped out. It's not already been the first time. And Achan's realizing that his act here, instead of just him taking the death penalty, which he deserves because he stole, he's now going to cause a civil war and thousands of Jews are going to die. So here we see in verse 20 where Achan admits his guilt. And by the way, if you remember, this was in yesterday's Chumash. And we learned that Avraham was davening here for this story, that it should end well. We were learning this the other day when in our Tuesday night Parsha class about Avraham davening in this era. This is exactly why Avraham was praying, because he sensed this would happen. Verse 20. Yan Achan, so Achan answers as Yeshua to Joshua, and he says, "Oh no, it's indeed true. Anochi chatosi, I have sinned." And by the way, because he admitted his guilt, he's going to go into Gan Eden. He's going to go into heaven. So by the way, when a person gets capital punishment in this world, it's a gift because they clean up whatever sins they did, and then they're ever able to go into the afterlife. He says, "Chatasi LaHashem, I sinned unto God el Yisrael, and this is exactly what I did." And he tells them what he did. He tells them what he saw and what he picked up. Verse 21. Be'era, he says, I saw the shalal in the spoils of war. Ader Shinor, a Babylonian, the beautiful Babylonian garment. It was a gorgeous clothing from Babylonia. Shinor Achas, one single beautiful garment, a beautiful one. And then there also he says, Masayim Shkalim Kesef. I saw 200 silver shekels. Ulashain Zav, I saw a block of gold. Zav Echad, one block of gold, which weighed Chamishim Shkalim, which weighed 50 shekels. Mishkali was its weight. The Achmadim, and I lusted them, and I wanted them, I coveted them. V'akochim, and I took them. Binim Tunim Ba'aretz, and here they are buried in the ground. B'toich Ali in my tent. He dug a hole in the ground under his tent, and he hid the stuff over there. V'akesef tachteha, and the money is there under it. The Rashi tells us what's with this Babylonian garment that he saw. The Rashi brings that every king at the time wanted real estate and property in the Holy Land in Eretz Yisrael and Eretz Canaan, in the land of Canaan. No king would be left out in the cold, not having some real estate there. So the king of Babylonia also erected a palace and a place in Jericho. So remember, they just conquered Jericho. So he meant, and the king of Babylonia had a palace in Jericho, and in there he had in his closet this fancy clothing that the king of Babylonia would wear. So this guy Achan went into Jericho, the wall fell down, and he saw, bless you, Ira, and he saw he saw this beautiful, he saw in the palace this beautiful clothing, and he saw the gold and the silver, and he couldn't hold himself back. He desired it, he lusted it, he wanted it, he coveted it, and he took it. So verse 22, so Joshua quickly sends messengers quickly. And they ran to the tent. And they found it exactly there, buried in the tent. And money was under it. Rashi says, why did they, as soon as they heard him admit it, they ran to catch the money? Because they were scared that maybe other people in the tribe of Yehuda will be embarrassed that it was their tribe that caused the death. And they'll run and they'll hide the evidence, and then they'll go check, and there won't be any evidence there. The story won't be true. By the way, it's fascinating when you see, it's completely different life than Moshe Rabbeinu. It seems like Moses wrote with the Jews, wrote on a very high level. Joshua, they came into Israel. All of a sudden, there's all these issues coming up. It actually said before that he stole. This guy Achan already stole. Moshe had cities, if I remember correctly. There was a city when they conquered the Amalekite cities in Israel. They ran into Israel at one point, and they conquered when the Amalekites attacked them. Remember, the Amalekites were waiting to attack them. They went and attacked their cities over there. It says that Moshe said, I'm donating these cities to Hashem. So Moshe has done this once before. Joshua was not the first one to donate the cities. Moshe already did it. But at that time, Achan said, he was a kleptomaniac, sounds like something like that. He desired the stuff. And he already's told her it's not the first time. And he took them, they took them from the tent, and they brought the stuff to Joshua, and to all the Jewish people, and they lay out all the stuff he stole, I guess the 200 silver coins, and the block of gold that weighed 50 shekels, and the clothing, and they lay it out. So first he laid them out. Rashi says he melted them. That's what it means. They got together, they melted. But the rabbi said that I guess Yeshua got them, he threw them down before Hashem. And he says, God, for this money you destroy, you wipe out half the 51% of the Sanhedrin, the majority of the Sanhedrin. This is why that guy had to get killed, because this guy stole a couple dollars. So he lays it out in front of Hashem. This is what caused all the havoc, these couple bucks. I guess it's a lot of money, but still. So Joshua took Achon ben Zarach, the son of Zach, and he takes the money, and the clothing, and the block of gold, and he brings with him his sons and daughters who will not get killed. They're just coming to watch. And he takes his oxes and his donkeys, and his sheep, and his tent, everything that this guy owned, and anything that's with him. And they brought them down to the valley of Achor. Now, why Rashi says he's bringing all the Jewish people, the sons and daughters with him, not to get killed because they didn't do anything wrong, but that everyone should be deterred, should know that when you violate something like this, it has major consequences, and you could literally destroy the whole Jewish nation. And he took everything with him because everything will be burnt in a fire, as we said before. All the possessions will be burnt in fire. Just like you troubled us, Yakrach Hashem will trouble you by Yom Hazeh on this day. And they put him to death with one of the 4 capital punishments, which is stoning, because this guy also violated the Shabbos, because the war was miraculously done by Hashem, and this guy, I guess, obviously did it on Shabbos. When they were conquering the city, he went and he stole the stuff and violated the Shabbos. So his punishment is stoning. And all the Jewish people stoned him even with stones. They burned all the tents and the movable property in fire. And the oxes and the other animals also had to get capital punishment by stoning. And they raised a large heap of stones until this day, at least when the prophet Yirmiyahu wrote the Navi, was there till that day. But Yashav Hashem and Hashem returned from his wrath. That's why it's called the Valley of Achor until this day. And that ends chapter 7, chapter 7 of the Tanakh, a fascinating story about why the Jewish people lost the war and how they dealt with it. Any questions, comments?